So, hello again. I am Melissa Shaver. I'm so thrilled that you are with us tonight. This is our Income and Impact call. And this is probably, if you've been with me or know me, you know that this is my favorite night of the week. I love this form of conversation because I know what this business and this opportunity has done for me, has done for my family, and I know what it can do for you. And so I always get thrilled to hear this. And plus, I absolutely love to hear other people's story and how they came into this opportunity, what it has done for them, and how it just aligns with who they are and their lifestyle and maybe who they had wanted to become and how it adjusted things for them. So the curiosity of that piece always gets me excited because we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different hopes and dreams and needs and wants. And so to be able to hear this is good. And so thank you again for being here. I am Melissa. I want you to know, for all of our guests that are on the call with us tonight, if you had a friend that invited you to participate, first and foremost, thank you for trusting them enough to be with us tonight. But secondly, I want you to know that if you're like, I'm doing this, but I don't know 100% what Plexus is all about. We are a plant-based company that is really focused on gut health, inflammation, blood sugar stabilization. When our gut is healthy, our brain is healthy. So that whole brain health, mental health piece, as well as our hormones are healthy. And we know, and many of us that have been doing this for a while, most of us have some form of a health history that this has changed our lives. So not just financially, but it's helped us with our health and the understanding that the root causes usually come from your gut when you have an unhealthy circumstance or situation. And so thank you for being here and learning. I think you're going to learn some really great things tonight. I think that you're going to be encouraged. That's what our hope is that you get off of this call encouraged and blessed in some way, but it's also going to give you the opportunity to just say, is this for me? Is this something that makes me lean into this to want to know more? Does it really bring up curiosity? Is it an answer to prayer in some way? You're going to find those things out in just sitting here in this community with us. So as we get started, I would love to know where you're from. If you'll put into the comments just the city and state that you're from, because we are all over the country. And I love to bring community together like this. So just shoot that out into the comments. And then I also want you to know to make sure that you stay with us to the very end, because for all of our guests, you are going to be asked a question at the end of this evening to be able to win a $25 gift card to Amazon. And so we're excited to bless you in that way and have some fun for you to get either something for yourself or something that might be on your Christmas list. So as we get started, I'm going to hand this over and just, I want you guys to meet our guest tonight that we're going to be having a conversation with. Her name is Andrea Studt. I met her through this business, and I have been blessed by her life, by her values, and by her knowledge. And so I'm very excited that you're going to get to hear from her tonight. She is a mom of 7 boys. She is a registered nurse. She homeschools. She is a strength and fitness guru is what I'm going to say, like to see her journey and what she is becoming because of the way that she feels and understanding that we're stewarding our body. We have this one body and this one mind, and she's doing that so well of just being strong as a woman, as a mom, in her fitness and all of those things. You might hear a little bit about that as well tonight. But I think the big thing for me and the respect that I have for her is that she's an advocate for life in so many ways, with her medical background, the way that she serves her community and her church, but just also really searching for truth and things that are going on in our world and advocating for all of us to be able to find the things that we need to find and to know how to learn to advocate for ourselves. And so that's something that I highly respect her on and that I've learned a great deal through. So with all of that said, I'm going to welcome Andrea. I'm trying to find your pretty face on here. There you are. Okay, I see you, Andrea. Thank you
Hello.
so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, I'm honored. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you. And we're just going to step right into it. My first question for you is just, can you share a little bit about how you heard about Plexus and why it made sense for you to start on the products and start this business? I would love to be able to hear that from you.
Sure. I originally heard about Plexus, I think it was maybe in 2014, a homeschool mom from my co-op who was very into natural treatments, natural healing, organic farming, things like that. She was on Plexus, and that really perked my interest. And so I was familiar with it, but I, at the time, thought it was just for weight loss. And so fast forward to 2016, basically, I had hit an all-time low in my health. I was 43. I had just had our seventh son. Prior to having him, I had been diagnosed with the MTHFR mutation. For anybody that knows what that is, the bottom line with that is you are highly toxic, you don't detox properly, you have a lot of gut issues, you have mood issues. There's a lot of things that can stem from it. And so I knew that I had that. And I also had seen a doctor who had said, you have something autoimmune going on. I just can't quite tell what it is. It could be lupus. It could be this or that or the other. Come back and see me in about 6 months and we'll go from there. Fast forward, I got pregnant basically and went on with my pregnancy. And actually, I did really well in my pregnancy. I was 43. I think I shared that amazingly well. But once I had him, I really felt like I just really went downhill. Had insomnia. My digestion, I had IBS pretty much my whole life. It basically was the worst it had ever been. I had seen an ENT. I had swelling in my esophagus and scar tissue from acid reflux. I was on acid reflux meds. I had acid reflux all the time. And I was a thin person, if you will, so it wasn't really like a weight loss issue for me. But besides all that, achy joints, woke up every day exhausted, ready to go back to sleep. I would say I was feeling depressed. I wasn't diagnosed as clinically depressed. I honestly didn't go see a doctor. So it made sense when I realized I needed a methylated vitamin. I needed gut health. I knew that. I needed a good omega source. I needed something to help me detox. And that is what Plexus was the answer to prayer for me because I had been searching for help. And so I basically I would say I started originally for the methylated vitamin. That's what got me really interested. And then the gut health component.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
incredible to hear. I want to hear, because I do know that you have a medical background. And so how did these products, because I feel like that you probably did some research, but how did it align with your lifestyle, your values, just your thinking towards science? Share that with me.
Well, it is interesting. I will say, I do have a nursing background. I worked in a variety of settings, but there is always something in me that was like, I believe there's a need for the allopathic method, if you will, the traditional route, if you will. However, I always knew that there should be a holistic approach to wellness. In fact, with the very first pregnancy I had, that's when I started researching childhood vaccinations, midwifery. So I had my first 5 children, I had them all at home with a midwife. So while I had a medical background, I will say my thinking was more of the holistic approach. So when I started to feel, when I had seen that doctor I spoke of who said, it looks like you have something autoimmune brewing. When I walked out of there though, I felt so hopeless because he didn't offer me anything, nothing. Keep taking Motrin for your achy joints. Keep taking your acid reflux medication. If it gets worse, come back and see me. But there was nothing. There was no discussion of nutrition, nothing discussed about supplements or anything. So all that to say, when I was at my lowest of lows after I had my seventh son, I really honestly and truly didn't want to turn to a medical doctor. I wanted to turn to maybe like a naturopath or something along those lines. But at the time, as I was researching the products, I will tell you this, I didn't research the products. I researched the ingredients in the products. I would look up every single ingredient in the main core, the triplex combo, and I would look up why would this help with this or that or the other. That's how I decided these products. Between that and the testimonies, that's why I decided to try the products. I thought these people didn't just throw these products together. Like, they make sense why they picked these ingredients. So that really was like so compelling to me that I really wanted to try it. And then the second thing was, and this is just a practicality, but I want to share it with people, I had never really invested in my health in this way, like put money down every single month. But I was desperate, right? And we had seen a naturopath. I don't know. It had been when my mom had cancer, we had seen a naturopath. I saw the naturopath. And my first visit after I walked out of there with his supplements was $500. So, I went to my husband and I was like, I can go see a naturopath again, but we know I'm going to walk out of there spending $500 on that first visit. So honestly, at that point, Plexus looked really appealing. It was way less expensive, honestly. And so I felt like, based on what I saw with the ingredients and what I saw with the stories, I couldn't help but think it couldn't work for me, And so I jumped in. I would describe myself as skeptical, but very hopeful.
Wow, that is so good to know. Now, this is what I want to know in hearing your story of what you're saying is you are sharing that it was, doing the research on the ingredients, but also the stories. So talk a little bit about that. How did you find the stories? Were they sent to you by your friend? Like, what did that look like for you?
Well, that's a good question. So, my friend Dory's the one. She may not be, I don't know if she's on here, but I've known Dory since I knew Dory in high school, but I was older than her. So we knew each other, honestly, from my brother's wedding. That's how we knew each other. And we were both bridesmaids. So, Dory was a friend. And so I reached out to her and had asked her some questions. And then she just shared a testimony with me, a lady who had 8 sons. And
Oh,
so I related to her. She had adrenal fatigue, but she also was at the top of the company in the business too. So it was like, even though she wasn't sharing it with me for the business, that did stick with me. Okay. This for later on in the story.
right.
But once she showed me her story, I'm a researcher on my own. I'm a green personality, which is I literally am like, just show me where to go and let me do my own research. Like, I don't need to be spoon fed anything. Just show me where to go. So once she showed me that one testimony, then I got on YouTube and I literally watched a million videos.
Oh, wow.
And maybe not literally a million, but I'm talking like I just researched on my own at that point. And I would research Plexus and blank, and then at that point I was like, what have I got to lose,
Right. That's interesting. I've not researched like that whenever I first started, but I would go and research just on Google gut health and something, because I had 4 autoimmune disorders and I had chronic pain, and I just want to see how it was connected, because I'd never heard that gut health was connected to so many health issues. So that was all brand new for me. But to hear you say that, so that's super cool that those stories are what really something that you leaned into by hearing that, and it resonated with you, which is really fascinating. So let's just move a little bit forward in that, because you started taking those yourself, but at some point you started this business. And for everyone listening, this is a really big piece, because online businesses are skyrocketing over the last 24 months just because of the world that we're living in right now, and because we were shut down last year, which is really fascinating to me. It makes sense, but to know that our form of online businesses have grown in such great amounts because people are looking for ways to get healthy. We do need to start advocating for ourselves in that area, but also the business has grown because people were either laid off or they saw what it felt like to have a little bit of flexibility with time and they want to start a business. And so that's only growing even through the holidays, which is so exciting. But tell me a little bit about that for you, because at some point you intentionally had to make the decision to move into the business. I feel like, if I'm correct in your story, in the beginning, it was not an intentional, I'm going to start the business. It was an intentional, I'm going to share, which is your personality of sharing, you know, the things that you learn with other people. But kind of take us through your business story.
Yes, correct. So when Dory first, we were talking, and I even expressed, I'm probably not going to be able to afford these past 90 days. I knew it would take 90 days. I was willing to give it the 90 days, but I mentioned about the money. And she was, you know, she just mentioned very casually, you know, it only would probably be like 3 to 5 customers under you to cover your products. And, you know, no big deal, but, you know, if you ever want to do it, let me know. And I said, well, I definitely don't want to do the business, but if it works for me, I'm sure I would share. Like I always share everything that works for me. So that was kind of how it started. Well, I, you know, was taking the products, and I like to share this part because at first when she would check on me, I wasn't responding to her. I was ignoring her. I was ghosting her. And the only reason was because nothing was really happening and I didn't want to tell her nothing was happening. So I just didn't respond. So I want people to know that because it's very typical in this business. But suddenly, I say suddenly, about 4 weeks in, and I haven't ever shared this, but right before I started the products, I was actually diagnosed with pneumonia and the flu. I'd never mentioned that, like the week before my products arrived. So I had been really, really sick. And so not only was I depleted and all that, but I actually was sick when I started the product. So because nothing was happening, didn't want to say anything to her. But then around 4 weeks in, my first sign was I had sick children, about 3 sick children who had been up at night coughing. Therefore, I was not sleeping that well. And I realized one day I was like, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I didn't feel like taking a nap. I was like, that is so bizarre. And then it happened another day. And I was like, this is different. This is different for me. I had shared, I was that mom. I would wake up in the morning thinking about, when can I take a nap, literally. And so I actually messaged Dory and I said, I don't feel like I have to take a nap and it's really bizarre for me. It's not normal. And I think I'm going to post. And she was like, what? Oh, okay. And I just took off. Like I didn't ask her for, you know, give me your ideas, nothing. I just posted. So I like people to know, like, that's what I love about this business is I've never sold a single thing before this, never done network marketing. I just am a normal person and I normally share what helps me. So I got on and I wrote a post just sharing my story about what had happened. And I put a picture of my family on there. And then I said, by the way, there's a sale right now. And there was. But I just did that because I'm like, why would I not share that? So there was I'm honestly, like, I think back to it now. And I'm so grateful that I just had no fear. I didn't fear somebody not liking it or somebody it was so organically natural that and naive, I guess, because it was really helping me. And I was actually genuinely excited. So anyway, so I just shared, and basically, long story short, I hit what we would call fast start silver. Now, we didn't have it back then, but I hit fast start silver in my first 10 days. I had 3 people join me, friends that messaged me from that first post, and then one friend who I actually messaged. So I kind of got a combination of things.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's how it happened. So I hit fast start silver. I got my first paycheck and it was a few $100s. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but, and that was shocking to me that all I did was just like share with people, like, so organically, and I actually made real money. And so my husband, who was just like, wow, like, that is so cool. And the funny thing about him and me with this is he used to always tell me, man, because I was always telling people about stuff that worked for me. I mean, I would just, if I like this one exercise method, Kalinetics, Pat Christopherson was the one who told me about it. I would tell everybody I saw about Kalinetics. He'd be like, man, if Pat Kalinetics would just pay you, well, you'd probably make a lot of money talking about Kalinetics. So he'd always joked with me about that. So when this happened, he was like, you're doing it. You're doing what I've always said that you would do. And that encouraged me to not be afraid to keep doing it. And then we continued to look into like the comp plan and things like that. And I never looked at a comp plan before. I can't even say that I totally understood it, but I did see the pay range, the income chart. And we looked at each other and we were like, what if this is like an answer to prayer that we've been having for a long time? And I won't get into all that, but we had been praying for an open door for our family. And so he gave me the blessing to go for it. And so I went for it. That's what basically happened. And yeah, so that's the nutshell of it. And I will say this, I also thought this to myself. Dory had given me a book called The 4-Year Career. So that was my very first introduction to network marketing. I read it. It was a little thin book. It was eye-opening for me, but I will just say, I thought to myself, I mean, I went to nursing school for 4 years and I loved nursing. I didn't share here. I had quit nursing when my third son was born. So I had done some volunteer work over the years as a nurse sonographer for a pro-life ministry. I had been doing that and kept my license up. But besides that, I hadn't worked in like a hospital setting in a while. But I loved my job, but I loved the calling of motherhood more. And so I had no desire to leave the home and go make money. But to have the potential to grow as a person, because it's a lot of self-development, guys, to just get healthy, get my family healthy, help other people get healthy while I continue to be home and continue to homeschool my children. And in 4 years, I could potentially be a 6-figure earner. I mean, I was like, why would I not do that? I mean, I don't have to go back to college. I mean, I'm learning as I go. It's learning on the job. And I'm just improving myself. I mean, even if I don't make 6 figures in 4 years, I mean, I'm still the better for it, you know? And so I kind of just set my idea that day, like my goal is to be a 6-figure earner in 4 years. That was kind of my goal. And I did. It was like 4 years and 2 months to be exact. But even if that had not happened in that amount of time, it still would have been totally fine because I would have known it was in God's timing. But I envisioned, as soon as I caught the vision of the business when I hit silver, I honestly envisioned us locking arms with other families, and then just the ripple effect of families locking arms, and just helping everybody in their path. And that's what I get to do as an Emerald. You know, we have hundreds of families on our team, and that's exactly what we do. It's just so cool to be able to say that to y'all, because that was what God put on my heart, and I actually see it come to fruition now.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I would love to hear this from you. Just talking about ministry and the Lord and locking arms, and tell me a little bit about that, like just how this business fits within your values and your lifestyle. Like, what does that look like for you? And how was it easy for you to say yes to this specific company within network marketing? Because there are a lot. But how did this business, this Plexus Worldwide, fit within your values?
Well, I mean, just with our local team, I'll start there, small scale, our local team right here. Most of us are believers. We do believe in Jesus Christ, and we are followers. And so that doesn't mean you have to be, obviously, but the moral compass, we all want to walk in integrity. We all want to obey the Lord in our calling here. And so, you know, we have a team prayer, we pray, we talk about the Lord so openly. So obviously that lines up perfectly with where I am. But it has given me a platform to just encourage other women. I mean, that is something that's always been a part of what I wanted to do also, not only to connect with other women, but to encourage, and then they encourage me. It's reciprocal relationship for sure. And so that alone has been such a blessing. But then honestly, even as, you know, because I've been able to obviously attend corporate events and I was able to meet the people at corporate recently. Like we went to the actual headquarters, and our leaders, our CEO, our president, their motto is, when you're blessed, be a blessing. And so there's that. And then one of the things Alec, the president, said at our Jewel school I just went to, is he said, the sign of a true leader is they ask you how you are doing and they actually really care.
Mhm.
And they actually, when you meet them, they actually look you in the eye and they really care about you and ask you how you're doing, even though there's just hundreds and thousands sometimes of ambassadors all around them. They're just normal, humble human beings that just care and want to make an impact for other families.
Mhm.
And they want to use network marketing to do that. And that just, obviously, knowing that families can pursue time flexibility, time freedom, financial freedom that will free them up to serve their family in better ways, to serve the world around them in better ways. Like, that definitely lines up with my core beliefs for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to hear, you know, Plexus Worldwide, the corporation, just totally in line with what Andrea is saying right here. But Plexus' mission is to ignite hope, health, and happiness into individuals and into families. And that's exactly what you're talking about. And even at the beginning, you said, I was skeptical, but hopeful. And I love that, because that's what we extend, is that hope, and then the health, and then with health comes that happiness, right? So that's such a beautiful piece. But for our organization, so you look at Plexus Worldwide, and then you kind of look at the micro of the women and men that you see right here. Like, our mission of our organization, and whenever you hear Andrea say, you know, I envisioned locking arms with other families, and then locking arms with other families, and just impacting that ripple effect. And that's really, truly what our mission is. Our mission is that, you know, it's just to create this movement of families getting stronger, feeling better, the environment of their household and their home to literally be transformed for the good. We desire for no family, no person to be left behind. Like, there is a system for all of you to be able to get your products paid for. It's exactly what Andrea was even speaking of earlier, of finding those 3 people and being able to get the bonuses that are there, and realizing just sharing like is real money. It's real money for our family. And so those things are so important for us, for you to be able to hear that. And there are all kinds of very simple steps and systems, whether you want to get your products paid for, that so that you can be consistent on them month after month, or if you really have been praying about being able to bring $500 home to help with income and family budget and kids' activities, or if literally you are looking at that 6-figure income, kind of like what Andrea was talking about in her story of being able to get to a place of 6 figures. There's a system for that. And I want you to know that. I want you to hear that. And if that is something that you're like, that's me, I need that 500, I need that 1,000, or I really do want to step away from my career and move into knowing that I can do something, have that flexibility with family, but be able to make that type of income. I want you to know that that's available for you. So Andrea, I have another question for you, because I know that in this industry, there are different types of people from a business standpoint. Some people do come from a medical background or a corporate background, a ministry background, or they are stay-at-home moms. We have individuals in this company that are very successful that honestly, this was their first job. Like, they didn't have any form of a traditional job prior to. And so in knowing that, I would love for you to share some of the things, and you kind of alluded to it about just the personal development that we've all gone through and what's available to us. But what did you have to learn about yourself in this business that you think are some key components for people to be able to be successful in this business?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, I'm definitely not an extrovert, and so I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert that cares about people is what, and I'm interested in people. So I would say that's one of the big key components is you just need to care about people.
Mhm.
We're in the people business, like that's why we do what we do.
Right.
And that's really you have to care about people.
Mhm.
And so and then like you said, or like I said, and you said personal development, mindset is so, oh my goodness, so huge. It has been such a growth journey for me. I've learned so much about, we have the ability actually to rewire our brains.
Mhm.
And that's just fascinating science to me, like fascinating. And then obviously we build each other up, we encourage each other, and that is going to help your mindset tremendously. But you have to be coachable.
Mhm.
And then I also just say you have to be willing to live out loud.
Oh, I
You
love
know, live out loud. That would be the biggest transition I know a lot of people may have, but it's a beautiful thing. It's humbling. It's being vulnerable. But it's living out loud in a way that other people can know, like if it can help her, it can help me.
Mhm.
If she could do this business, I could do this business,
Mhm.
and so those are key to me. And then yeah, that's pretty much, those are my main things. That was it right there. So
Yeah.
mindset, caring about people, and then just being coachable and living out loud, and just being yourself,
Mhm.
and being willing to grow.
Mhm. I love that because a lot of people that I speak to, they have kind of a myth of belief, a disbelief, if you will, a limiting belief, honestly, to think I have to be extroverted, or I have to have a big following on social media, or I have to know everything before I can ever start. And so, what do you say towards somebody that's like, I'm really not even on social media very much, and this is an online business? It kind of goes towards you talking about living out loud, but and being coachable. But what would you say to someone that's like, this is so out of my comfort zone, yet I know that it's also an answer to prayer of what I've been praying about to be able to help me and to help our family? How would you encourage them?
Yes. Okay. Well, if you're somebody that's not really on social media,
Mhm.
in fact, I just had someone recently that's jumping in the business that hasn't been active on social media. And what's really cool is she's so coachable. And we said, let's just ease into this. Just start sharing about your family and
Mhm.
just start letting people into your life. And that is exactly what she's doing. So she's not just jumping on there, just talking all about Plexus. She's just sharing her life with people and letting them get to know her again, her get to know them on social media. Because I know, like for me, even though I shared a lot on Facebook, because I was a sharer, I was also a lurker. And so what that means is, like, I didn't really comment on people's posts and engage with them. I just lurked and looked.
Mhm.
And so I did have to grow in that way.
Mhm.
And so I would just say be willing to do it, because it will absolutely transform and revolutionize your business if you are on social media. Now, I also say, like, but if you have social circles where, if you go to a gym, or you're active in church, or you're whatever, homeschool co-op or work, I mean, absolutely share with people in real life sphere. Put that sample bottle, the bottle that we send with your welcome pack, on your desk, and people will ask you about it. What's in that bottle? What's that pink stuff, or what's that yellowish orange stuff, and so it'll strike up conversations. Or when people see you feeling better or losing weight, and you have a smile on your face, people are going to notice. So I would say, to talk to people in real life, but then just start easing into social media, and you'll get the hang of it. You will. When I started Plexus, I had 200 Facebook friends. And so I had a very closed in circle of people I let in. And so I had to grow in that way myself.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. For many of you on tonight or listening to the recording, I know that you're saying it's December. This is everything that I have been looking for. I definitely have been so curious. I'm hearing just kind of the qualifications and the steps to be successful and the personal development that we go through and this community that's here. But I feel like that I need to wait. And one thing that Andrea said earlier that I'm like, yes, is that we do have the ability to rewire our brain. And there's so many things that whenever we think, this is something new and different, and it's something that I've never done. I come from a traditional corporate background, or I've never had a job, or I'm quote, just a stay-at-home mom, like how could I do this? Or I'm looking for that second career and I don't know that this is it. This is what I want you to hear. Your gut is telling you, like, if you're curious and leaning in and going, I really do believe, but I want to encourage you to not allow the but to take you out of the game, right? Like, I really want you to lean in and message, and you'll probably hear from your friend as well, that invited you here to say, let's go all in on this and let's get going. We have specials going on right now, but guys, what I want you to hear more than anything is just even sharing with 3 friends, getting some accountability partners, being curious together, and getting started. But those 3 friends help you get a $300 plus bonus with sharing with those 3 people. So it's going to take care of your products this month. It's also going to allow you to take care of your products for next month, but it's going to get you started. And once again, we build with community. So you're never left alone. You're never isolated. You're never on an island whenever you join our community. We desire more than you know for you to be successful because we believe in this business and we believe in you. And we know that you can be helped through that. So I want to say that first and foremost. Secondly, I'm about to ask our last question tonight of Andrea. And as I'm asking, I want to ask you a question for all of our guests. And I would love just to hear, if you're not a guest, if you're doing this business, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. But this is the question, and we're going to do a drawing on this. But it is, what is one thing you've heard tonight that has encouraged you, and why is that important to you right now? So what is that one thing that you heard, maybe the business, the health story, something about locking arms or community? What is it that has encouraged you, and why is that important to you? So put that into the comments. We're going to grab those names and we're going to do a drawing. You'll hear from us. If you win, you'll be hearing from us to be able to get that $25 Amazon card. So with that, Andrea, I have a fun last question for you, and would just love to hear this piece. And that is, what is it that you love about Plexus Worldwide and about this business? I've heard a couple of different things. I know that you've traveled. I know you've gone to corporate. I know this summer you went to Mexico. Also heard you talk about personal development. There's so many different areas. But what are a couple of things that you love about the business, the company, and getting up every morning and serving your community? Can you share that with us?
Yes, I'm going to try to narrow it down. I love the leadership in Plexus. Like it is by hands down the best surprise I've ever had. And because of their leadership, their integrity, their love for people, it just trickles down into the organization. So I love that about the company of Plexus. I love that they're always on, because I'm a science girl, they're always on like what I would call the cutting edge of science, with the microbiome and all that. I trust that they're in the know of what needs to be offered. And so that makes me excited. I'm also excited about the fact that the people on the product advisory boards scientifically, I mean, obviously there are scientists and medical doctors, but then there's also crunchy moms like me who are very into all of the holistic preferences. And so I love knowing that they put their heads together to create the best products out there. But then also just the fact that I get to wake up every single day and potentially be a part of changing someone's life. And I get to do it from my home on my own time, my own timetable. I think, I've shared, we get up for something in the morning, we work out at Camp Gladiator. I can work on the way on my phone because I do. When my husband's driving, I'm working. When I get home, I work for like an hour and then I start homeschooling my kids. So like, I just, that's just like the best gift ever. And then obviously our as a couple, we've been blessed with these trips. Before Plexus, I didn't share this, when Dory and I first started talking, I was that mom who never left the house. I never went anywhere, like never, other than homeschool co-op. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as my children have gotten older and I've been in the business longer, we've been able to travel all, to Mexico, oh my goodness, to Florida. Where else? I feel like we've gone a bunch of
You were
places.
just in Phoenix as
I
well.
was just in Phoenix. And I was like a girl that never got on an airplane ever before, guys. And so I just feel like it has just expanded my horizons in a new way. And then obviously it's provided opportunities for us as a couple to just spend time together. And that's obviously a huge blessing. So
I love that. I said that was my last question, but I have one more for you. You're raising boys, and there is something, you just were sharing, and this is what prompted is that you can do this business anywhere, and you can do it while your husband's driving and y'all are headed somewhere, or maybe the kids are studying or something. But what has it meant for you and your boys? They're watching you. Our kids watch what we're doing. How has that been a good influence within your household?
Well, obviously, just the health aspect of watching my husband and myself, both of us are almost 50, yet we are, we're raising still young children. We have a 6-year-old as our youngest, 6 and an 8, and they go up to 21. So, our children are seeing us taking care of ourselves and not just sitting and, doing nothing whenever we're off work, right? And so that I think that obviously we're hoping that's speaking to them about taking care of your temple. But then also just obviously just the work ethic. I believe they're seeing me go for something, reaching out for my dreams. And they also see us, even though it's me doing this kind of work, they know that it's us as a couple, and this is our dream for us as a couple, for our family. And they're seeing us work together. My husband is watching the kids so I can be on this call. I think that that's a really good example for them to see their dad laying down his life for me to do this, but then also that he has skin in the game too. They see him put his Plexus shirts on when we go places so he can advertise, and they see him, doing all the things I'm doing, like he takes all the supplements too. And so I hope that they just see us working as a team, to be honest. That's what I hope.
That is awesome. Guys, thank you so much. And I love these comments. If you didn't put a comment, I would still love to hear from you. Thanks for being with us tonight. We did do a quick drawing of everybody that put their comments in, and I'm going to hand it over to Chris Rude real quick. She's going to tell us who won the Amazon card. So Chris, if you'll unmute yourself, I would love to hear.
I will. It is Barbara